produce talent.
Zaria Harris-Waddy will lead us off here tonight. A tough receive on the end of Duke. Maeva looking for that first assist and finds it. Solana Leia from the middle.
And it was a subtle setup, not too much going on there, but just giving enough of a bump to get it right over the top of the net and allowing Leia to just hammer it home.
Leia, one of the go-tos, has had a fantastic season playing in every set so far this season. As Duke returns the point with Ngozi Ilo. Taylor Williams, the sophomore, will take the service line for the Blue Devils. Here's George from the far side, goes opposite corner.
That's the bread and butter for Skylar George. That's what she does in practice or warming up all the time. It's just those far sides coming to that near side corner. It's easy peasy for her.
Great placement from that far pin. And it sends Reese Tevis to serve for Syracuse. Leia on the slide. Offhands kept alive by Duke. Here's Zubcevic into the block, but tools it.
It was a great adjustment there from Zubcevic at the last minute, trying to go a tangle across. Instead, decided to redirect that ball near side.
Great placement right on the lower hand of the block to tool it out of play. Serve clean from Ilo, forces a tough receive from Syracuse. And George goes off hands this time. And she'll be the one to serve for Syracuse. Coming off a 12-kill match against Stanford. And overcooks this one.
Point Duke and Syracuse serve out of bounds.
And Duke will rotate in. Charlotte Glass to serve. Glass, just a freshman from Florida. One of those facilitators that'll work in at the setter position for Duke. Maeva cross court to McLaughlin. He'll try her again. And McLaughlin forces a tough dig and finds the kill.
One thing that this Duke team has really struggled with this season is getting quality digs. That's something that assistant coach Kelly Kadanak-Johnson mentioned, was that they can dig the ball well, just not give their offense a chance.
Another serve just a touch long from Syracuse, and that was one of the strengths that they had going for them last weekend, was serving. Put up a great night against Cal, struggled a bit against Stanford, but tough not to struggle against a team like Stanford. A very tough serve, and awarded the point is Duke, but it all started with that fireball from Ashby Zubcevic.
She knows how to get it done around the net. She had over 1,600 kills in high school.
Off the tape, Maeva to Harris-Waddy in the middle.
And it's the variety that Maeva produces. The last couple times going far towards the outside, this one just right up in the middle.
Maeva steps back to serve, but that middle attack, of course, something both of these teams want to get going early to open up their pin hitters. And just like that, a Duke response. Olivia Wayne back and forth here in set number one with Duke leading 6-5. Wayne was a touted recruit, the freshman, and gives Duke the 1-point advantage. Trying to go up two. Williams has it blocked. They'll go far side with Wayne. Maeva, McLaughlin into the block. A second chance for Syracuse. Glass tries to dump it over, and it's blocked by Harris-Waddy.
Glass trying to get a quick one over on Syracuse, but Harris Waddy reading that like a book. Just excellent to be ready and available to jump up in time to block that.
Leads this squad in blocks with 48. And you see why. Can hold her own right in the middle. Finds them solo as much as she does assists. George off the pass. Wayne into the block. Harris Waddy twice in a row. So Harris Waddy struggled to get going against Stanford and Cal, but has found her rhythm defensively here early on. Williams off hands. Maeva backsets Sydney Waller. Forces a tough dig out of Godshaw. Williams into the middle. Now Waller again. Williams, third time this volley. Give her a fourth. Maeva. Wayne on the far side puts it into the long rally as McLaughlin couldn't get it.
And Wayne has been super versatile both on the front and the back row. Her ability to kind of play off that, grab a couple of digs during that rally, but then also play up at the front. It's impressive.
We're knotted up once more at 7 apiece. Maeva forced into the back row, up front for George, into the block. She'll go to Waller, and Waller finds a little pocket in the front row.
That right side mixture of Waller and Harris Waddy has been absolutely locked down for this Syracuse team so far, and you see Duke choosing to not go towards that side because they're just seeing more success with those two being strong.
Seen Waller get a lot of feeds here early on. Not quite typical for Syracuse. Usually they're dishing to McLaughlin off the bat to try to heat her up. Duke with the second chance. Williams over top. The set to McLaughlin in the back row. Second chance for Skylar George, goes through the block, but a great dig from Zubcevic. Williams rolls over. Maeva has it blocked in the middle. George, free ball for Duke. George to the back corner, and the placement once again from Skylar George.
And that's called versatility. When you have so many different players that can attack from both right in front of the net, but in the back row as well, you have a plethora of options that when you have those longer volleys can go throughout.
And great vision again by Skylar George to not put too much on it and know that no one's getting it if she can just hit her spot. And off the slide, it's Ngozi Ilo hitting her spot to the back line.
Ilo has been great off those slides, especially coming from the middle, to just pick a spot, stick to it, and absolutely hammer one through the middle.
She's coming off a great match against Clemson where she found 10 kills. And finding the service ace is Taylor Williams, 19th of the season. Came in with 18. It was tied for the team lead with Ashby Zubcevic, an aggressive serving team in Duke. Syracuse, of course, tries to mirror that, expecting more of those aces to come from both sides. Maeva couldn't get to it off the dig, and 2 in a row for Taylor Williams.
And one thing about those serves is that they're very subtle. They kind of knuckle through the air. As soon as they get over the tape, they fall out of the sky. It makes a hard read for Syracuse.
Third one away for Williams. Maeva sets for Leia. And blocking Zubcevic this time is Harris Waddy and Soana Leia. Check that, Sydney Waller on the near side.
The fact that there's 3 different Syracuse players that just love to sit by that net, it's going to provide challenges for Duke that they need to figure out between sets.
Coach Ganesh-Rotnam has talked about the blocking being a point of emphasis throughout this season. And he's gotten a healthy dose of it here for the Orange as they find another point on the side out.
And even though it's a back and forth affair, this Syracuse team, it looks like they have a bunch of confidence within themselves to be able to pull this one out.
Up by 1, 11-10. Make it 12-10 off the service ace from Reese Tevis.
How about her 19th of the year, also leading the team?
So 19 apiece for both of the aces, if you will, for each squad. Middle set and converted. Ngazi Ilo once more.
And just tipped off the hands, made it a tough read for Lana Yamada in the center.
4th kill of the night so far for Ilo. She leads all attackers in the match. Serves here off the top of the tape. The set for George. And Duke will collect chaotically. Zubcevic jousting at the front. Now a clean set to George through the block.
And it's those slight variances of putting everything she's got on it and just leaving it just over the net. It makes Duke really double check and double think about how they're going to play the defense against George.
Serves here with a 2-point lead. And just too strong was Brianna Goss. So Syracuse out to one of their larger leads now, 14-11, as this first set has just been back and forth between both teams. Mir sets for Gillen Malvo. Now here's George out of the back row, finds a pocket, a beautiful pancake from Godshaw. And she'll set on the far side to Williams. Now here's McLaughlin, blocked. Zoe Gillen Malvo and Brianna Goss combine to put it down.
Goss has got 16 blocks on the year. Gillen Malvo, 0 individual blocks this season, but you partner them together. It's a tough hole. George has been able to exploit it a little bit. McLaughlin didn't have the luck that time.
Gillen Malvo is 6'3". (15-12) out of the first timeout. Syracuse on top by 3. Yamada leads things off and just misses the back line. It was awfully close, as great eyes from Taylor Williams to let it go. So Duke will try and rally back, down 3 here in the middle of the set. Serve away from Zubcevic. It's another good one. George out of the back row, pokes it over. Here's Williams to the middle, finds some open court. Taylor Williams, 191 kills on the season coming into this game, just behind Ashby Zubcevic. Those two make up the bulk of the offense for the Blue Devils. And now Harris Waddy responds. Same exact way, right to the middle, just finding open court.
Through the first half of this set, both teams attacking the middle a ton, trying to get anything they can. And so now these teams are opening that space up, and it's just making for easy soft points.
Syracuse has played with a size disadvantage in a handful of matches so far this season, and more to come as Maeva finds the service ace. Of course, we talk about how tough the ACC is. A lot of that comes with size, and it's not something that really either of these squads are overly gifted in. So the middle's opening up for both of these teams, as it doesn't always. Glass back set for Wayne, right into the block of Gabby McLaughlin and Zaria Harris-Waddy. And a very quick timeout from Duke as Jolene Nagel wants to talk it over. They came out, responded pretty well, but then Syracuse back out to a 4-point lead.
It's those small plays, those soft taps, and then you get an electric block like that can shift momentum. And with how experienced Nagel is, she understands this game could very quickly be over if there isn't a reset from her team. So very smart time to take a timeout and just reset this Duke squad.
And as a very veteran coach, as we've discussed, she's coaching a very young team as well. So these are the moments where you have to rally that squad together, They have 11 underclassmen compared to just 5 upperclassmen, 5 of those being true freshmen, and a lot of those play on the roster. Talked about, having to get over the hump early on in the season of having a young team play like a young team. They're still working on overcoming that, and of course faced with a tough challenge in Syracuse, who's a very veteran team.
But I think the interesting part about this Duke squad is the fact that it's not filled with transfers. It's not filled with a whole bunch of experience. It's that Coach Nagel said, we're going to build this from the ground up, hit the recruitment path, and brought a bunch of names, and is now building a culture. And that culture is what ultimately has won her a lot of success in the future. That's what's gotten her to 14 NCAA tournaments with the Blue Devils. And this young team is proving that they have that culture together and working as a team.
Syracuse kind of top-heavy with upperclassmen, but of course a lot of new faces, 10 to be exact, on this roster, with 7 of those being transfers. It's been a work in progress for chemistry, but that's really come a long way, according to Coach Ganesharatnam. McLaughlin out of the timeout, off hands.
And when you have both Skylar George and Gabby McLaughlin, who are very different in their styles, coming from the same spot, it's tough as a defense to be able to react and understand what's going to come at you.
George will often throw the off-speed in there a lot more than McLaughlin will, and she's lethal with it. So McLaughlin gets the set out of the far pin, and no double touch called. Coach Ganesharatnam wanted it, but we'll play on. Williams, and it's out. So Syracuse will not have to spare any form of challenge as they go out to a 20-14 lead. And Coach Nagel will take her second timeout of the first set. But right now, Syracuse really just firing on all cylinders. On the other side, Duke maybe making a couple of unforced errors on the offensive end.
What you're seeing out of this Duke squad as well is they're not getting as close to the net as they would like. When they are, they're getting blocked because that Syracuse front line is so good. Instead, they're having to get the ball over the net a little closer to that 3-meter line, but you're not able to get as much power, as much force, or you have plays like that last one where it just skies over everybody's head. So this Blue Devils team needs to find a nice middle ground and have the confidence you're going to get blocked. That's volleyball. Can you still get to the net and deliver strong attacks, because that's what's going to lead to points.
Very similar philosophies really out of both of these coaches. Again, coaching teams that, don't sport 6'4", 6'5" middle blockers or attackers. But this is a Duke team that's coming off of their first sweep of the season over Clemson. They're bringing in a lot of energy. And when we spoke to associate head coach Kelly Johnson, she talked a lot about the importance of those opening sets, opening points of sets. She said the thing that this team prides themselves on is coming out fierce and attacking hard out of the gate.
And this is the point in the match too where she said this is when her team really needs to get focused, because they can get to the 12, 13, 14 point mark, but then it's the after that matters. You grab a set, especially on the road, that can really dictate how the rest of this game is going to go. So they really need to kind of snap back into it, and that's why you saw Coach Nagel take 2 straight timeouts.
Of course, Syracuse did get swept by Stanford, but worth noting, in that first set against Stanford, the Orange held the lead 10-7 at one point. They were hanging with the Cardinal early on. Of course, it ended up getting away from them. Expected against the number 5 team in the country it might happen, but they played well against Stanford. Pretty electrifying win over Cal, 3-1. A lot of energy on this campus around SU volleyball. And a lot of energy there from Olivia Wayne, who comes striking out of the timeout.
And you're seeing this Duke team go towards that opposite side hitter a little more than they were in the first half of the set.
George from the back row, put away by Taylor Williams and Ngozi Ilo.
And that's all it takes, 2 straight points like that. This match can swing if you're Duke.
Araswati pokes over from the middle. Glass will set for Williams. Yamada to Waller. And Waller too strong, asking for a touch. And doesn't get it. They'll have a brief discussion with head coach Ganasharatnam, but he will not challenge. He'll let it play on. So Duke comes out swinging out of the second timeout. And a beautiful save by Harris Waddy to keep this point alive. Ilo overcooks it from the middle.
And you saw that's exactly where Duke wanted to attack. They've tried to punish Skylar George when she's on that back row. She did a great job to just get that ball up and give her team a chance.
Wayne from the far pin tools the block. Harris Waddy and George just couldn't quite get the angle on it as Duke continues to battle back. As the captain, Millie Muir, will step to the service line for the Blue Devils. Waller flies in and puts too much on it, so Duke within 2. Sydney Waller, one that we saw get more action over the last 2 matches, trying to make the most of it as George puts it right into the chest of Mir. Yamada will set. Harris Waddy. Waller near pin and finds space in the back corner.
And you can see the Syracuse team choosing to go with that more attack-heavy focus, because now you've got in the front line Leia, George, and Waller.
And the middle attack converted. And Gazi Ilo finds another one. She's really establishing herself in that middle. Expecting the back and forth from her and Harris Waddy. Williams into the net. And Syracuse moves within 2 here in set 1.
This is looking very similar to how the Duke-Clemson series went, where Duke went out to an early lead and let Clemson get back into it. Now Syracuse is doing the same thing.
Tevis is who you'd want at the service line right now for Syracuse. Maeva to George. Off hands, kept alive by Duke. And again from the middle in Gazi Ilo. On fire from the center, 6th kill of the night.
And that center area for Syracuse is wide open right now. It's been about 4 straight points for Duke that they've hammered home in that area.
Hitting .444 right now is Ilo. George trying to respond but gets shut down. Zoe Gilvin-Malvo and Avery Hamlin force head coach Bakir Ganasharatnam to call the timeout. Right now, Nate, Duke is just rolling.
And this was a 6-point set just a couple minutes ago. And now we've got 1 point where this Duke team realistically could win it straight up or push it into extras. This is a Syracuse squad that can't get down on the fact that this Duke team has got runs. That's what they do, especially with how versatile they are at receiving the ball. This is the 4th best team in digs in the ACC. They know how to keep the ball off the floor. So despite Syracuse's offense seemingly going stale over the last couple of points, it doesn't mean that you can't come back into it and get back into this match. It just means that when Duke keeps it off, when you have those longer volleys, just make sure that you are doing what you need to do to bring it home.
And this was a real issue for Syracuse against Cal. They had 2 sets, one of which they were leading to try and complete the sweep. And they let Cal mount massive comebacks that had everybody in the building saying, this is crazy. And it happened twice. The second one they were able to recover, but it was a big lead, and then it went into extra points. The first one they ended up losing and going to a 4th set with Cal. So it's got to be something that as a Syracuse you have to address.
And it's always a question about fatigue that enters my mind when you watch those sets, is because Syracuse looks so crisp and precise, especially to start the set. But then as you get into those 20-point sets or these 1-point sets where it's going to come down to the wire, it seems like the fundamentals are not what Syracuse has in mind right now, and instead they're just trying to get every point that they can. Instead, what they need to do is stick to what they know and what they can do, and that's going to get them those points.
Coach Johnson said when Duke was playing Clemson, they took too much of an exhale late in sets, and that's what allowed Clemson to come back. Right now, they're on the opposite end of that, as maybe Syracuse took a bit of an exhale. It was never a huge lead, but enough that this is a set Syracuse feels like they should win. They go to the middle again. Syracuse able to recover. George through the block.
And now, Taea Maeva, 4 assists away from 2,000.
The momentum building as it's set point for Syracuse. George, a clean serve. In the middle, blocked. And the Orange takes set one as Soana Laea and Gabby McLaughlin shut down Taylor Williams. 25-22, the score from set one as we head into the break. Back in a couple of minutes on ACC Network Extra.
Hockey team takes on RIT, 3 p.m. at Kennedy Ice Pavilion. Be sure to check it out.
Set number 2 coming your way on ACC Network Extra as Taea Maeva moves to just 4 kills away from 2,000 on her career. Nate, we talked about it in the pregame, would be a huge milestone for the junior to achieve.
Yeah, and it seems like it's got to happen early on within this second set, but Maeva has been the facilitator for this offense that saw a lot of success early. It's just whether or not the Syracuse team can keep the momentum and not allow Duke to sneak back into it like they did at the end of set 1.
Transferred in this year from the University of Nevada, went to Cathedral Catholic in California, of course, the volleyball powerhouse. Out on the West Coast, won a state championship in high school, went 35-0 that season, played beach as well, went to the University of Nevada, and then found herself here at Syracuse, where she sits at 1,996 career assists. And again, just a junior. Sets Laea here, and she moves to 3 away.
There's only been 11 other players in Syracuse history to tally 2,000 assists.
It's an amazing milestone for her to achieve. As she moves towards it, Reese Tevis with the service error. And Duke will take possession. Taylor Williams, the sophomore, will serve. And McLaughlin couldn't get there. Looks like there was some uncertainty on whose ball that was going to be, and it just dies right at the feet of McLaughlin. But again, that serve from Williams just lethal when it connects. Here's George into the block. They'll try her again. This time pokes it over. A nice dig from Zubcevic. Returned by Yamada. George down the near line.
And that's called mid-game adjustments, the ability to realize that this Duke team is leaning towards the middle, so let me poke one down the line and make them respect that side as well.
So what Skylar George does is see the floor. Goes off the tape here. Mir sets for Ilo, who gets it just past George in the back row.
This Duke team all of today has really emphasized attacking the side that George is on when she's in the back line.
Gazi Ilo has converted 7 kills on just 10 attacks tonight, and now finds a service ace to go along with it. Just a 6th ace on the season for the redshirt senior. Getting it done all around for the Blue Devils right now. Laea on the slide, blocked. McLaughlin rolls it over. And blocking this time. Avery Hamlin couldn't get it over. And Lea's there.
That's where Lea has really been solid, has been in that middle blocker position, just the ability to keep everything shut down in the bulk of what's in front of the net.
Far side attack handled by Syracuse. Maeva works her way through Harriswadi to get there, and it works out for the Orange as McLaughlin finds the far line.
That puts her at 1,999. The next one will hit that 2,000th milestone.
And Hamlin will be credited here. George couldn't get to it. So Avery Hamlin on the near pin with a couple of kills here in set 2, and Duke leads by 1.
And this Duke team is really stuck to the game plan. They had an idea that they wanted to do coming into the set. They've succeeded so far, and that's what has them out to an early lead.
Charlotte Glass, a serve off the left hand, and Maeva finds the kill before she finds the assist. That's trademarked by Maeva on this team. The old dump set right to the middle of the floor. Extremely successful when she attempts it.
She's only got 18 kills on the year, but occasionally she will, especially if you anticipate her to dish it off to a teammate.
And McLaughlin finds open court. Syracuse time and time again here, not necessarily going with the firepower at the net, but just locating empty pockets.
And again, choosing to go down the line or really go to the opposite side corner by the net. They're just finding that extra area of orange on the floor.
Zubcevic on the far pin goes off hands. Waller couldn't quite connect on the block as Zubcevic faded to her left. And nice placement from the freshman, who serves now. And that one just misses the far line. So Syracuse in front by 1. McLaughlin now at the service line. 16 aces on the season. Last sets Wayne. Here's George off the tape. This time to Waller. Now George rolls it over. And nothing doing for Duke's offense. A nice recovery out of the back from Zubcevic. McLaughlin. Wayne to the middle. Out of the back row, McLaughlin pokes it over. Williams off hands, and Duke wins another long volley.
And it is those long volleys that went the favor of Syracuse in the first set. Ultimately, they come out on top. Those can genuinely be momentum switchers in these sets, especially when you have close matches that are 7-7.
So Mylan Godshaw, defensive specialist for Duke, goes into the net. And Harriswadi will take over for Syracuse with a 1-point lead. Maeva still searching for that pesky 2,000th assist. And off hands goes Ngazi Ilo. A quick attack from the middle.
And the Syracuse team is preaching having Lana Yamada, especially in on that back row, just the value that she has as the libero to be defensive. This Duke team's really attacking that backside.
Mears sends it to the back row. George digs. Leia. Here's Williams. Off the tight set. Ilo. Yamada's there. And Waller. Now Williams. Back this time and sent out by Hamlin. So very reminiscent of the first set as we go back and forth here in the second. 9-8, Cuse up by 1. Reese Tevis at the line for the Orange. Mir backs at Williams to the back row, dug by McLaughlin. McLaughlin now attacks, off hands out of the back row. What a play from McLaughlin for Taya Maeva's 2,000th career assist.
An excellent dig to just keep it alive. Maeva fading away from the court, keeps it in, and McLaughlin just strong over the middle.
Far side set for Hamlin. George has to give it back for free. Here's Williams to the back row. Almost kept alive. Would have been an incredible play and instincts from Yamada.
And that's what the defense of Tevez, Yamada, and McLaughlin in that back row have just been able to provide a little bit more versatility, again, against this Duke team that just is excellent at serving the ball.
McLaughlin with some heat. A nice dig in the back by Godshall. Leia in the middle. Now Hamlin near pin. Off hands, kept alive by Syracuse. And George has it put down. She'll get another opportunity here. Hamlin pokes it over. George sends it to the back row. Subchevich just has to give it to the Orange for free. Leia on the slide and sends it long.
Those are two long volleys that have gone the way of Duke. Later in this set, when it's close and if it stays this way, that's going to not fare well if you're the Orange.
Knotted up at 10. About as evenly drawn of a match as you'll see here in the ACC. McLaughlin into the tape. On the blocking violation, they'll be credited with the point though, as into the net went the Duke block. So they lead by 1 as George sends it away. Here's setting. Hamlin over to Syracuse. Here's George out of the back row, pokes it over. And they'll reset. Jousting, and Maeva wins it.
It's court presence that really has allowed Taya Maeva to be the staple of this team, to understand where that ball was and to not try to get too fancy with it, to almost go up with a block and just a subtle tap. That's what it's allowed this Syracuse team to win as many points and ultimately win as many sets as they have this year.
Talk about the court presence for Maeva. It's a big thing Coach Ganasharatnam talks about, how calm and level-headed she is, how well she sees the offense. Great distributor. Sends it to McLaughlin here, who goes off hands. Mir back set Hamlin. McLaughlin. In the middle. George keeps it alive. Free for Duke. And Ilo to the back row with some heat.
This Duke team has done a much better job at having a backup defender. And even when the blockers are going up, there's someone always around that even if it's tipped, they've got a way to get the ball in the air.
Ilo continues her strong night. 9 kills, pacing both teams. Leia goes off hands. A rocket off the fist of Zoe Gillen-Malvo.
And the Syracuse attack has really picked up the pace with some of their kill attempts. They have just been absolutely rocketing it to the other side.
It's the nature of this team. They want to play hard. As we await the decision, it's awarded to Syracuse. Duke may have thought they got a block touch, but actually went straight through the block and out of play. Yamada serves quickly. Ingram diving save by Tevis. Here's Hamlin. And Yamada couldn't get there, so Hamlin returns a kill by finding just a pocket in the Syracuse defense.
And in serving Blue Devils, Charlotte Glass, number 22.
Charlotte Glass will be the server for Duke. A bit mishandled by Tevis. McLaughlin will just have to roll it over. Ingram, dug by George. Here's Harris-Waddy poking over for the middle. And this one mistouched by Wayne. Has never really had a chance. It was trailing towards the official stand, and that brings us mid-play, so didn't really get a chance to fully acknowledge it. But she eclipsed that number, now has 16 in the match so far. Had 1,451 assists at the University of Nevada, now has 549 here at Syracuse. And you know she's going to be looking for more, too.
Fundamental piece in this Syracuse team, just continuing to be as dominant as they have been early on.
Ingram. Now Harris-Waddy. Ingram again, far pin, off the block. Back set, Wayne has it blocked by McLaughlin.
The Blue Devils thought going at Harris-Waddy and Waller was going to go out of their way. It didn't, so instead they chose to go the other way and forgot that Gabby McLaughlin was there as well. That front line for Syracuse, we talked about it all day, has just been incredible in front of the net.
Coach Ganesh-Rotnam knows that McLaughlin is a bit of a target for opposing offenses. But as Duke got blocked again, they struggle against the block. They get blocked the second most in the ACC, so may see them try and target McLaughlin more as this match goes on, as the block has been fairly alive for Syracuse. But with how back and forth this match continues to be, may not necessarily be in dire straits to have to change anything up. So Lauren Ingram serving for Duke, did not play against Clemson, but getting most of the minutes here in the second set. As Waller goes right at the feet of Charlotte Glass.
The Syracuse team is only enlisted to use the one sub of Reese Tevez. When they go with that more attack-heavy lineup, however, they see more success.
Free for the Orange. And out of the middle, Harris-Waddy went flying in, and Waller's the one who capitalizes on it.
You don't need to over-complexify simple things. When a ball is sitting right in front of the net, and you got to
try and exploit. Here in the second versus Syracuse, Lauren Ingram, one of 3 members of this team out of Dallas, 4 on the roster for Texas, from Texas. It's a consistency for Duke. Coach Johnson saying they almost always have at least one player from Texas, not necessarily by intention, but it just seems to work out that way. So McLaughlin gets us back underway. And a miscommunication there with Goss. Waller trying to capitalize and does.
And again, that's that attack-heavy offense that Syracuse has got rolled out there. You've got serving Gabby McLaughlin, but then you have Waller, Harris-Waddy, and George out there as well.
It's a big front row for the Orange right now, as Williams will try and take it on, and she's denied. And she'll just tap it over. Harris-Waddy was calling for it, and shows why. Fired up, 20-14, the Orange lead by 6.
And Maeva didn't necessarily set that for Harris-Waddy. It was more towards the far side for George, but she saw an opportunity and a hole on the back row. She slammed it through.
And that's the thing about Zaria.
Those are going to be the players that have the hot hand. On the flip side, when you get in struts, you need those players that are calm, that are going to say, listen, it's not over, and it's going to lift the rest of the team up. That's why having Maeva, your setter, be so calm helps this team out amazingly, and then having George and Harris Waddy with so much passion in that front side benefits Syracuse as well.
It's a very good balance across the offensive side for the Orange. As McLaughlin serves here. And Wayne opens it up with a statement. Gottschall serves for the Blue Devils and sends it long.
And that's a great read from Yamada, who's really been aggressive, especially along the sidelines, to just go get it and give her offense, her potent offense, a chance. There was going to, and last minute pulled off, allowing that ball to go out of bounds.
The service errors start to build up as you get late in these sets. As Wayne goes after it again. This time it's Williams off hands. Maeva to McLaughlin, out of the back row.
And this is the response Syracuse didn't have in the first set. Out of that second Duke timeout, there wasn't a fire lit underneath them. They have it now because they don't want a repeat of how set number one went.
And that is an electric attack from McLaughlin, and you see just not a whole ton of emotion pouring out from her, just level-headed, business as usual. Williams has it put down. Wayne over top, and Harris Waddy just mishandles it. And you can see she knows that's one that she should have had.
But that's the passion that's going to allow this team to have so much success. Is you have the benefit of a buffer of a couple of points. It's not win or go home or extra points. You know you can make a simple mistake like that, and now it's just the rest of your team picking you up.
Leading by 6 over Duke as the serve is away from Mir. Here's George. Back set from McLaughlin, who just has to roll it over, and a free ball given back to the Orange. Yamada will set for George, off hands, and somehow kept alive. Leia, and she'll get the touch.
This Syracuse team has done an excellent job at exploiting the fact that when Duke is on offense, they are very cluttered inside that 3-meter box. They do not space out well and have their defenders back, so they need to reset, and they struggle to do that sometimes, especially on free balls.
Williams into the block, and it stays strong for Syracuse as it's Leia and George.
Syracuse is not a team that is inherently known for blocking a whole ton. They only average about 2 blocks per set. They've already got 3. This one's 7 on the match so far. This is a team that's really controlled that front line.
Team high in blocks was 14 over Canisius, and then of course Harris Waddy leading them to that number again over Notre Dame. And with 7 right now, they're halfway there, but this match seems like Syracuse has a good hand on it, but Duke can very easily make this competitive and send it to extra sets. As the service error gives possession back to the Blue Devils, with Syracuse having set point on the line. So it's a number to keep an eye on if we progress into a 4th or 5th set. Maeva has to hustle to it. Here's George. And George, nobody home in the back corner, and Syracuse dominates set 2, 25-17.
It's a wide open hole that, again, this
successful media career as well. Milestone out in the real world for her as we're underway in set 3. Syracuse with a 2-0 lead, but a statement out of the break as Brianna Goss gets going.
And again, this Duke team has got to attack early if they want a chance to come back and at least get this third set, they have got to go out and make some plays early on.
Well, they emphasize energy off the top of sets, and they need it here. And for Syracuse, it's been a struggle to close games out. But Skylar George is going to be the first one to try and change that here in the third.
Again, George just changing up where she attacks, taking that big looping angle, look like she's going to come across the court, stop last second and go down the near sideline.
Turns it over to Reese Tevis. Forces a low dig from Ingram. Here's Wayne on the far side. Tevis with a great dig. George rolls over. Wayne, far pin, over the top. The set for Leia in the middle. Kept alive by the Blue Devils. Leia blocked and put away by Brianna Goss. Not often you see a block to the back row.
And that's just a simple mistake by Syracuse, pressing forward on what they thought was going to be a lot more chaotic than it was. It left that backside wide open, and luckily a nice block from Goss to just be able to there and push it.
McLaughlin out of the back row. Now Wayne. George tries that near side placement. And a great set from Nikki Quinn. Tight against the net and able to push it over for Ilo.
It's a great job as well to duke out Skylar George, get her jumping on that front low, because then it means you only have one defender to beat if you're Duke.
Here's George with a full head of steam. And that's a scary sight for any defense.
It's quick, it's sharp, and it's pointed down. It's very hard. She plays a lot taller than she is to be able to get those attacks straight at center court.
When Skylar George gets that left, right, left in rhythm, it's a tough ball to stop as Leia can't quite convert on the overpass. So Duke holds the 2-point lead.
It's the first time this entire game that Duke has had an actual control of how a set is going.
They got that fast start they've been looking for. Maeva into the net. An easy call, and Duke check that. Other way around. It's a violation on Duke. Point Syracuse. Ingram into the block. It's Taya Maeva, the setter.
You can't have a better game than Maeva is having right now. 2,000 assists on her career, but she's had a couple of kills as well, placing him right over the center and now going up and getting some blocks to her name.
So we're knotted up at 4 apiece. Syracuse has responded. McLaughlin, far pin, tools the block off the arm of Ngozi Ilo.
It's like a carbon copy almost with Skylar George. That one just a little bit further down the line. When you have versatility, two players that are both going to go to that outside hitter spot and essentially replicate each other, it's tough to figure out where one's going to go.
Yamada puts it just long. And turns it over to Lauren Ingram. Again, Ingram did not play against Clemson, has not played very many sets so far this season, and can't get the first serve over. So Syracuse takes back the 1-point lead.
Duke loading that back box with 5 different players.
Maeva puts it there, Ingram digs. Back set Ilo off the tape. Here's McLaughlin, rolls it over. Now Williams. Nice dig from Yamada. Harris-Wadi to the back row. Ilo, and Ilo finds the back line. Nobody home for Syracuse. Ilo will take over at the service line. Her second game in a row with 10 kills. And she's looking for more. Has plenty of time to play here in the third. Waller responds for Syracuse.
That makes it 5 different players for Syracuse with 4 kills. And Maeva has got 3 herself. She's just a very versified offense for Syracuse.
It's the heart of both of these teams' attack is diversity and variety. George forces the diving dig from Ingram, now pushed over. Collected by Syracuse. George to the back line. Another nice dig from Yamada. George off the high pass, just misses the near corner. So another long volley awarded to Duke.
And despite that ball going out of bounds, you have to give Syracuse credit for just giving George a chance. They've done that a couple times throughout this match on those long passes across the court, giving that outside hitter just a chance.
So Nikki Quinn will serve for Duke. Waller off hands and is awarded the point.
And that's just a misplacement in the middle there between Wayne and Quinn. Quinn thinking that she needs to cover the center, Wayne trying to cover the outside where Quinn was, and it just left a wide open hole.
The set from Quinn, blocked is Taylor Williams, Sydney Waller, and Soana Leia.
It's been a brick wall on the other side of that net for Syracuse. This Duke team has tried everything under the sun and just has not been able to get it by Waller Leia.
9th block of the match so far, and able to answer is Brianna Goss. A screaming attack from the middle, and Duke moves within 1. Here's George through the block, kept alive, and put away from Goss, point Syracuse. So Tevis takes over with a 2-point lead. Syracuse the first to 10. Here's Wayne over top. McLaughlin rolls from the back row. Wayne again, far pin, off hands. Maeva to the middle. 4th kill of the night for Taya Maeva.
And you see the reaction. We were talking about emotion earlier, almost shoving Maeva into the net. It's not often that you see a primary setter who's got over 500 assists go for a classic set and choose to dump it down herself.
Now has a stat in every category as Duke's able to respond. But Taya Maeva has etched her name down for a kill. Obviously, tons of assists right now with 26. A service ace, 6 digs, and a block. As the service error awards another point to Syracuse, out in front by 3 now.
The bigger thing I would say though, Spencer, the efficiency. She's hitting it at 800 or 80% right now. She knows that when she picks her moments, she's gonna have success.
4 kills on 5 attacks, no errors. Here's Ingram, over top, and Tevis just couldn't get there. And Lauren Ingram finds her first kill of the season. And it moves Duke within 2. McLaughlin over top. Here's Ingram again. Maeva, near line, just misses.
And this Duke team is so paranoid about what Syracuse has proven that they are capable of doing. Their backline defenders, one sits so far close to that 3-meter line just in case you have a play like that happen.
McLaughlin tries it out of system and won't go. Millie Muir and Ngozi Ilo are there, and they shut down McLaughlin in style. 12 all here in the third. Maeva off the tight set to McLaughlin, and McLaughlin delivers off the arms of Mylan Godshaw.
Syracuse now almost exclusively going to that outside hitter. They're not even thinking about coming to the right side. They know that's where the power of Georgia McLaughlin is. They're going to go to it every time.
Ilo responds a bullet to the back row.
Coming into the day, Ilo only had 95 kills. She's proving to be a breakout star that can really perform, especially in the middle of the court.
Ilo tries Harris-Waddy, denied. And now Williams can't get it over. So Harris-Waddy shut down Ilo, and Maeva slid over to make sure Williams couldn't get through.
Again, look at this Duke defense as they set up 4 players well beyond the 3-meter line. They just want to make sure that they get this ball off the ground because all 5 will go to attack the net.
Williams just fanned on it. No real pressure there, an unforced error. Brings us to our first time out of set number 3. This time our score is 15-13 here in the women's building. As Taya Maeva gets set, Syracuse looking for their first sweep in ACC play this season. Duke trying to avoid getting swept after sweeping Clemson. Here's Ilo, and she's too strong on the opening attack out of the timeout.
And you saw this happen in the second set. Out of that 15-point timeout, Syracuse really capitalized. Duke trying to slow the pace, but the Orange didn't allow that to happen.
And another fan, as Millie Muir just had it slip right between her fingers on the set. Not something you see from the captain very often.
And it's just been kind of a synopsis of what this Duke team has had today. A lot of mental errors that have led to easy points for the Orange.
And Ilo trying to pick her team back up. 13th kill of the night, still pacing both sides. Needing to put up some big numbers on the back end of set 3 as Duke trails by 3. McLaughlin just misses the back corner.
And how about Ngozi Ilo putting her body on the line in the back row? We've seen her so much up front in what she's been able to do with her power, but then going out there, getting that ball just off the ground.
A veteran, redshirt senior from Georgia. No doubt she wants it here in this campaign with Duke. Out of play, point Syracuse. On the run, Goss off the arms of McLaughlin. So Brianna Goss has gotten going here in the third set. Second kill, and both have come here in the third as Duke continues to push the score, trying to survive. Deficit down to 2. Waller, off hands. Tools Ashby Zubcevic.
Syracuse has done an excellent job at the almost fake slide. Instead of having that middle blocker come to the outside, they take a step and then cut back in.
And Zubcevic sends it long.
It's all about the angles that the Syracuse team is creating right now. They're making a ton of it.
And I think we're going to get a challenge here from head coach Jolene Nagel, as they're going to challenge whether or not there was a touch. Duke asking for it. Initial ruling on the court is that there was no touch, and it was point Syracuse. As it stands right now, it'll be a 4-point lead for the Orange. Zubcevic pretty much immediately was asking for the challenge out of her head coach. If you look ahead for both of these squads, I mean, it's these games where it's crazy to say in the ACC, but anytime you're not facing a ranked opponent, it happens so often that you're facing ranked opponents. Anytime you're not, it just feels like must-win games.
Yeah, especially with how competitive, like you mentioned, the ACC is.
Some of those, so it must have been clear and obvious that it was touched by McLaughlin. So 19-17 is the score now after the point swing.
This game is a lot closer than it may inherently seem, with how strong those plays have looked from Syracuse. Duke has definitely hung around, and it's very similar to how that first set went down, where this Duke team just stayed in it just a little bit longer, and eventually you could have seen them come out. Luckily, Syracuse was able to shut the door. It's a completely different match, though, now that we're in set 3 compared to straight off the top.
Coach Ganesharatnam emphasizes how tough every opponent is. You know, you may have a team coming in that's 2-4 in the ACC, but odds are they've played some of the top teams in the country in those losses, so there's never a game to take off. George, out of the break with authority.
Yeah, she wanted that point back, and she wanted it back bad. Was able to go out to the outside and quickly just shoot one across. Again, it's bread and butter. It's simple when that's pretty much all you practice and do. But that's what makes her elite at it, especially in conference play.
Syracuse 5 points away from taking the match. And Goss sends it wide, point Syracuse. Waiting for that timeout coming from Syracuse. Wins the point. 21-17 is the score. Another big match unfolding tonight in the ACC. Number 8 SMU is at number 4 Louisville, currently up 21-19 in set 1. So a match to keep your eye on, as if SMU is able to pull that off, it'll certainly shift around those top teams in the country. Louisville on top of the ACC right now, 6-0, joined by UNC, who's also 6-0. It's been a strong start for the Tar Heels. SMU is currently 4-2. McLaughlin sends it way high. Yamada keeps it alive, and Maeva will bump it over. And Wayne is able to tool the block. And Duke off a 2-point run, creeping closer to knotting it up. Godshall serving. Off the tape. And Maeva, again, 5th kill of the night for Taya Maeva, and it's in the same spot.
If I'd have come into this game and told you that Taya Maeva would have more kills than Zaharia Harris-Wadi and Soana Laea, I don't think many people would believe me.
Only had 18 on the season coming into tonight, and she's been a massive factor on the scoring end. Responding is Ilo. Can't say enough about her performance tonight. Seems like anytime Duke is down and out, Ilo is the one to respond and pick this team up.
And while there's not a whole ton of positives you can take out from if you are Duke, there is one to open up another attacking opportunity.
McLaughlin, far pin, delivers. No chance for Christina Barrow.
And how about a 30th assist for Taea Maeva? That's her 12th time this season with 30-plus years, with experience in battle-tested games.
Coach Johnson talked about how Coach Nagel, her biggest strength is connecting with her players. So it's just like you're saying, very quickly these players get into the culture, they get into the feel for the ACC, they develop very quickly under Coach Jolene Nagel. Has been doing it for a long time at a very high level, even prior to Duke. Harris Waddy to the back row, and Syracuse moves to match point.
They've just been clinical, especially out of the breaks for the Syracuse team. Something you didn't see a ton against Stanford. They're coming out to attack out of the break.
And Duke will take their second timeout, up 24-20. And this is a big test for Syracuse. Again, we talked earlier about the struggles that they've had in closing sets out. But now it's a golden opportunity. You're up by 4. This was a spot you were in against a team like Cal where you just struggled to do it a couple times in a row. But you closed out set 2 strong. Now set 3, you have a chance to find your first sweep in the ACC. Big moment here for the Orange.
And this is a confidence-building moment, but also something you're seeing this Syracuse team do is have fun, right? How often are you going to see Taea Maeva have 5 kills or have a stat in every category? How often are you going to see a double-double out of Gabby McLaughlin, who's got 11 digs and 10 kills on the night? How often are you going to see 6 different players have 4 or more kills? The fact that this Syracuse team is playing loose, they're playing with joy, they're playing with fun, that is the key difference maker in what allowed them to close out set 2 and in what will allow them to close out set 3 if they choose to continue to have that fun and that enjoyment of loving volleyball.
It's been over a year since they had their A sweep in ACC play, back to the 2023 season, and looking for it here. Here's Ingram. Maeva to McLaughlin. McLaughlin tools the block, and Syracuse sweeps Duke. First sweep of ACC play this year.